As we've discussed throughout this week on the program, it is not too late for the so-called Respect for Marriage Act to be stopped in the Senate. If just 3 Republican senators who voted last week to advance the bill for debate decide that the bill is not a good idea, the Democrats will not have the votes to break the filibuster and have a final vote. Joining me now to discuss this issue, as well as his new report on woke warfighting, is U.S. Representative Chip Roy. He serves on the House Judiciary Committee, the House Committee on Veterans Affairs, and is a member of the House Freedom Caucus. He represents the 21st District of Texas. Congressman Roy, good to have you on the program today.
Great to be on, Joseph. Hope you're doing well. Hope Tony's doing well, and I hope everybody has a blessed Thanksgiving coming up.
Thank you so much. Now, one of the things that we would be very thankful for is if we could see this so-called Respect for Marriage Act bill stopped in the Senate. And this is clearly a priority for the Democrats in the lame duck Senate. Now, you've been outspoken against this bill. What do you find most concerning?
Well, first of all, I want to start with the truth, right? The fundamental truth. That marriage is between one man and one woman. The fact that you've got a bunch of gutless politicians who run around saying, well, we don't want to talk about that because, there are certain things and things are changing and, the Supreme Court, we move. Hold on. Truth is truth. And it doesn't matter what Congress does. It doesn't really matter what the court does. Truth remains true. And I think it's really critically important for Republicans to understand. We've been battling for truth, just as we did in Roe versus Wade. We're battling for truth now to make sure that we stand up in defense of marriage as an institution. That is the main thing that we should all be remembering, and we should have the courage to say so. The second part, though, of course, is religious liberty and being able to protect religious liberty. That if you believe that truth, if you act on that truth, if you speak out on that truth, that you will not be ostracized, that you will not have litigation or legal punishment, and that you will not be, face negative consequences because you dare speak what you believe is the truth. We had to deal with that, obviously, with the issue in Finland this summer, which I was proud to team up with Tony on to protect free speech about marriage there, where you had a member of their own parliament being prosecuted. And that's what we want to avoid here. And this legislation that is being moved through fails on all counts. It undermines the definition of marriage. It does not protect religious liberty, no matter what some of their sponsors say. And there were 12 Republicans, 12, who voted to advance that to the floor for debate. So for your listeners out there, the cloture vote means now it proceeds to the Senate floor for debate on the bill. That means out of those 12 Republicans, you need 3 of them to find the courage to stand up in defense of marriage and religious liberty. Roy Blunt, Richard Burr, Shelley Moore Capito, Susan Collins, Joni Ernst, Cynthia Lummis, Lisa Murkowski, Rob Portman, Mitt Romney, Dan Sullivan, Tom Tillis, Todd Young. All except for Susan Collins are from bright red states. Notably, Cynthia Lummis from a 70% red state. We need, and by the way, Shelley Moore Capito from basically a 69, 70% red state. They need to be heard from. They need to hear from your listeners and make sure that they know that their constituents don't want them to vote for this bill.
And to that point, if you are in one of those states, or even if you're not, you should contact your legislators just in case. Go to frcaction.org to find out how to take action, or you can also text the word marriage to 67742. That's text the word marriage to 67742, and you will get information immediately sent to your phone telling you how you can take action. It is really, really important that people contact their senators, specifically in these 12 states right now, to put the pressure on them to do the right thing. Now, Representative Roy, there's a lot of people who look at this issue and say, well, the Supreme Court has already spoken. They already passed the Obergefell, they made the Obergefell decision. Same-sex marriage is the law of the land. And you also have a Supreme Court that has been quite good on religious freedom. So all this fear-mongering about religious freedom isn't real. People aren't really going to lose their jobs. You don't need to be concerned about that. So let's just live and let live. What's your response to that argument?
Well, first of all, we, the people, decide what the law of the land is, and we live under certain truths that are, of course, given to us by our Creator, and that there are rights that are inalienable, right? our viewpoint here and how we live and structure our society, marriage is truly one man and one woman. It doesn't matter that the court said, oh, sorry, under the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution, this means that you can have marriage or you must allow marriage to look like this, something that is not one man and one woman. And as a result of that federal, Supreme Court decision, then you're unable to create and form a society around the bedrock institution of marriage. That they did that doesn't mean we should sanction it or agree with it. It doesn't mean that you as a representative of the people should go in and vote to codify it, expand it, extend it. And you certainly shouldn't hang your hat on what 5 judges may or may not do to protect your God-given religious liberty. And that is fundamental. And that's what people are saying. And by the way, we say that this court is, quote, decent on religious liberty. They dropped the ball on a number of cases. We don't have enough time to go through them all right here, but go do a Google search. There are a number of cases where the Supreme Court has not done what they need to do to protect people's ability to make decisions for their life and to express their religious liberty the way they should. You never want to turn over your liberties to be in the hands of 5 out of 9 unelected judges to determine what your fate is on your God-given rights. The people need to speak in defense of them, limit the power and scope of the federal government, and supporting this bill, will force every state in the union to recognize whatever definition of marriage California comes up with, right? It's an extension beyond even what we've already done. This is insane, and we should stop it.
If you don't want America to be California, this bill does need to be stopped. And again, to do that, go to frcaction.org or text the word marriage to 67742. Text the word marriage to 67742 to learn how you can take action immediately. Now, Representative Roy, I want to change topics with you if I can in our remaining minutes here. You've joined with Senator Marco Rubio from Florida in a report titled Woke Warfighters: How Political Ideology is Weakening America's Military. Tell us about this new report.
So Senator Rubio deserves a great deal of credit. He and his team, his staff, worked with my team to put together this great report. Basically, a lot of things you've heard about out in the news, right? That we wanted to compile into one place so the American people could see the extent to which their military, that we all love and respect, and that stands on that wall in defense of our freedoms and our liberties to protect this country, that military is being driven by a top-down politically correct, woke brass at the Department of Defense that is working in coordination with the White House to have indoctrination throughout the ranks of the military, whether it's the Air Force Academy, where you had a statement saying, "Oh, well, don't refer to mom and dad. That might be offensive," or an admiral telling midshipmen at the Naval Academy they need to read, quote, How to Be an Anti-Racist, that teaches the only remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination, which all takes large inspiration from the Marxist concepts, right, of the oppressed and the divided between the oppressed and the oppressor. They want to divide our country into racial classes and to further break our unity down. That's really what this is about and why we thought it was so important. Remember the old posters in World War II of Uncle Sam that's patriotic? I want you, and we all come together in our differences and we fight to defend this country. Meanwhile, now they're saying there's a slide at the West Point that's for a class at West Point that says, quote, white people and people of color live racially different structured lives, and it lists 3 characteristics of whiteness, describing it as a location of structural advantage and race privilege. I could go on and on. There are so many different examples. Sex reassignment procedures that they will pay for and gladly give you a year off to deal with, but they won't even let you join the military if you've got, braces or like certain allergies that are long lists to try to make sure you've got a healthy force. This is the absurdity of your current National Defense Department, and there are consequences. Our recruiting levels are down. The morale is low in the military, just at a time when we need to be heightening the strength of our military to combat the rising of China and foreign threats. So we thought it was important to put out there, so we put that report out this week.
And that report does have a lot of really important information. You highlight the fact that one of the first things Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin did when he was confirmed to his post is order a one-day stand down to discuss extremism within the ranks, which is this suggestion that there's extremism within the ranks of the military, and we got to do something about that. However, the military's own data says that in a force of 2.1 million people, they've only found 100 cases of prohibited extreme activity, which is, of course, 0.005% of military service members, or 1 out of every 21,000 service members. If that's, according to the Department of Defense, the nature of the problem or the nature of the non-problem, why do you think, Representative Roy, that this level of priority has been given to this issue?
Because it is a politically driven exercise for power that the Biden administration is promoting and the brass at the Pentagon are willing to promote. And the reality is, you just said it, you walked through the numbers, but let's consider further that they created the Countering Extremism Activity Working Group and hired Bishop Garrison, who's a rabid partisan who routinely attacks conservatives and has stated, quote, systemic racism is one of our greatest national security challenges, routinely promoting the 1619 Project. Hiring a senior advisor like that sends all the message that you know, right, and that and indicates where they want to go with it. This is all about a one world order, right? The White House Deputy Press Secretary said that. Like, we want a new liberal order. That this is not about promoting American sovereignty, American, strength. It's not about our being the strongest country in the world and promoting that around the world, American exceptionalism. This is about breaking down our unity, breaking it down in pursuit of this racial identity world. And again, it's Marxist. It's purposeful. The words of Marx, read them. They want to divide us. They want to divide us between oppressed and oppressor, right? They're going to move out of the race as the only way to do that, which is a good reason, a good chunk of why they're promoting so much of the gender issues.
Representative Roy?
Sex issues.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are out of time. We're up against a hard break here, but we do appreciate your work on this and as well as your time today. Thanks so much.
Have a blessed Thanksgiving. Take care.